Majora is back. This time with a Game Boy. But this Game Boy right here is more advanced than the other Game Boys out there. Not all Game Boys are created equal, you know what I mean? Well, this advanced Game Boy game is Castlevania Circle of the Moon. And it's really advanced, especially for being a Game Boy Advance launch title. Hey, I like a good launch. Do you like a good launch? What's your favorite launch? Mine's probably like peanut butter and cottage cheese, although I do like a good Reuben or Cuban sandwich. I think they're really solid. Oh, we're talking about launch titles. Oh, well, do you like launching titles? Me too. I like launching videos all the time. So if you want to check those videos out, well, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my launch of these videos. Today's video is Castlevania Circle of the Moon. An excellent Game Boy Advance game, as well as Castlevania game. Circle of the Moon released in 2001 and is sort of a Castlevania Symphony of the Night light, a light version of the PS1 classic. It has your classic Metroid-style exploration. I refuse to say Metroidvania, although it does apply in this sense. And it's got the RPG systems that were characteristic of Symphony of the Night, including HP, MP, heart, strength, defense, intelligence, luck, equipable armor, and upgradable skills, I guess. It also has something unique to the Game Boy Advance called the dual system setup. It's a card system where you pick up cards and then you combine the two different types of cards to make different attacks. It's a pretty cool system. I'm not going to get too into it right now, but it does make the game sort of unique. I like that. Circle of the Moon is really a throwback to the classic Castlevanias, not just Symphony of the Night. I mean, every Castlevania is going to be a throwback to another Castlevania because it is the same story every time. Dracula has been revived, and it is up to the legendary vampire killers, the Belmonts, to take him down. Now, Nathan Graves is not a Belmont, but Morris and Hugh Baldwin are, and they're sort of his mentors. Nathan Graves' parents were killed by Dracula, and he's sought to get revenge, and he's been under their tutelage. So that's been pretty cool. As far as like a narrative framework, it's not very well explored in the game, but I think it is nice canon, despite the fact that Igarashi-san isn't. He retconned some of this game's story. The monsters are really a throwback to the other Castlevania games. I've seen a lot of them in the previous games. I've seen the ghouls walking around. I've seen the werewolves. I've seen some of these sprites, and I really like it. I mean, it's like, oh wow, it's freaking Cerberus. It's pretty cool. Soundtrack is awesome, although it is compressed in a MIDI format that's specifically for the GBA. They are the themes. Almost essentially the entire soundtrack. I don't know. There might be a couple unique ones in there, but I saw references to Symphony of the Night, to Super Castlevania 4, to Castlevania 3, and a lot to Castlevania Bloodlines. I mean, I'm thinking of like Sinking Old Sanctuary, and I think there's a couple other themes in there, like the opening theme or something. Circle of the Moon is notoriously difficult. I think this might be the most difficult Castlevania I've played up to this point. More difficult than Bloodlines. Well, I'm here to give you somewhat of a beginner's guide so you don't get caught up in some of those challenges. For one, the exploration is super preset. So, yes, it is Metroid-style style. Okay, I'm going to use the term here. But it's very much preset. There's not a lot of like free exploration. Everything is sort of preset to where you're supposed to go. There are not that many save points, so you really do have to take advantage of them because they restore your health. In fact, there's barely any health items that you're going to pick up in the game. A lot of them are by chance because a monster drops it. There's no shop where you can buy potions in this game. And in addition to that, all the enemies, bosses especially, are heavy hitters. and those bosses are sponges, so you really have to play well. So a couple of things you should know. One, it's an RPG, so you can spend time grinding to increase your stats, but I don't think you should do so meaninglessly. For one, every time you level up, Nathan's health, magic, and hearts go up 10 points. Now, the health and the hearts are probably the most important part there. The magic power, not so much. I never even saw an opportunity to run out of magic power, at least with my DSS system. But it's still pretty important that you bulk up Nathan so he can take hits and also so he can give hits. I think that, I didn't check this, but I think that the strength, defense, intelligence, and luck also go up with level ups. And of those, the ones, like, I'll explain what they are and why they're important. Strength relates to the strength of the whip, but also your sub-weapon attack. Defense is how much of a hit you can take. Intelligence is the strength of your magic attacks. And luck is luck. It has to do with critical hits. Obviously, the most important ones to me were strength and defense. Intelligence kind of took a back seat. But you know, I think if you are using the DSS system, you know, that's something you want to keep in mind. And the DSS system is pretty cool because the cards that you pick up sort of randomize play. Like, you start off with the Salamander card, and I think it's Mercury, so you have the Flame Whip. But a couple other ones you can unlock. I didn't get too many. I would say if you ever pick up a card, the first thing you should do is go straight back to a save room. Because I lost like 3 or 4 cards in this playthrough. And it would have been cool to have a bit more variety. But I really liked like the Flame Shield and a couple of other things. The last thing I want to say is that this is Castlevania, so you can just farm for hearts if you need to. You can go back and forth between rooms, and that's really helpful before you go into a boss room. Hopefully with these tips, it'll help you to be able to enjoy and play through Circle of the Moon. Good luck with that Dracula boss. That's probably the hardest Dracula I've fought. As far as Circle of the Moon, it's fun, it's quick, it's challenging, it's Castlevania. What's not to love? Thanks for watching, everybody. Go enjoy you some Castlevania.